I'm Evan Goldman. I live at 224 West 92nd Street, in the heart of Manhattan. And my life just went to hell.
And thus we are introduced to our main character, Evan Goldman. When you're looking at songs of musicals, what the first song should do is introduce us to the main character and some of the premise. At least give us enough of the premise that we understand what's happening. This song does that very well. And actually, technically, there are two different sections of this song, and they each have their own name. The main one is just called 13, and then there's a section in the middle called Becoming a Man, which is actually reprised later in the musical, so it is kind of important. But regardless, both of these things are basically combined into the first main number, so I'm just going to talk about them together. The first thing that this musical does is let us know who our main protagonist is. He comes right out and says he's Evan Goldman, and he recently turned 13. And, if that wasn't hard enough, his parents also split up, and he went from living in New York to living in the middle of nowhere. Now, this song doesn't actually state where Evan ends up moving to, but we do know that he moved from New York City, and that he's not in New York City anymore. He actually moved to Appleton, Indiana, but the name of the town isn't important so much as you know that it's not very big. But we'll find that out more specifically in the next song, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore. So we see that Evan is going through not just turning 13, but also having to go through his parents' divorce. And the thing about this song is that it actually lets us look into the mindset of 12-year-olds who are turning 13. Now, most of you watching this, if not all of you, have experienced this shift from turning 12 into turning 13. And this song actually does a really good job of looking at this issue of shifting between being 12, being a child, and being 13, being an adolescent. Because every little thing that goes wrong in your life you tend to blow out of proportion, and you want a lot more than what you actually have. So, as the song states, if you're a guy you want a mustache, and if you're a girl you want a wonder bra. And it's just this idea of getting past this period of adolescence and moving right into adulthood. You're no longer a child, so of course the next logical leap is to just become an adult immediately, which doesn't happen, much to our chagrin. So the song actually does a great job of reflecting this idea of these kids wanting to be adults, even though they haven't really reached that point yet. In the middle section, the Becoming a Man section, is very well done, because that's where we find out what drives Evan throughout this entire musical. Evan is Jewish, and because he's Jewish, he is going to be throwing this bar mitzvah party to celebrate the fact that he's turning 13. So it's the celebration of him becoming a man. And this first becoming a man is him basically saying, I don't know how to be a man because no one's really telling me. But in this section, we basically hear what his master plan is. He wants to throw a wonderful bar mitzvah party. He wants all his friends to be there, he wants all the cool kids to be here, he wants to throw the perfect bar mitzvah party. Because at this perfect bar mitzvah party, his parents have to act like they didn't split up, and then maybe after this perfect bar mitzvah party, they'll end up back together. So he's using this party as an excuse to get his parents to get back together, so that once the party's over, everything will go back to the way it was before. So does this actually happen? Well, I guess you'll have to stay tuned to find out. So that's what happens in this song, so I will see you next week for the next song. See you then.
And we're just about to turn 13.